Hey guys, welcome back to Talk Story with me, Gaven Sugai. I am here with my good friend Damon Trevor, who is the host and owner of theSHOpodcast. Well, he's the co-owner as well now. He is one of the founders of Team Move, and he is a great personal trainer, someone I really admire and respect. And I have him here on my show today. Thank you, Damon, for coming on the show.
Wow, that's a mean intro. I gotta try to live up to all of that credentials and everything.
So this is a very special episode for me. This is probably one of my most important episodes I've ever recorded. So Damon, on your channel, you've already posted 2 videos on this 3-part solo series. So the first one being Solo Daddy, which is your experiences as a father. And then Solo 2, which is about depression. And for those who haven't seen those episodes yet, please watch them on theSHOpodcast. Great episodes, fantastic. And it leads up until this episode, which will blow you away, because when Damon told me this, and today is July 9th, he told me this a couple days ago, and I think I was just blown away because I couldn't believe it, and it shocked me. So without further ado, Damon, for Solo 3, what's this bombshell? What is this big thing that you want to tell people?
For the last 22 months, I've been living out of my car. So started in September of 2018. Started off as a wild idea to save money and not have to pay rent and just be free, because I seen a whole bunch of people doing it on the mainland. So the first first one I told was my best friend at the time. He didn't really overreact or anything. He kind of just was like, okay, how can I help? That's really a real best friend, I think, in some ways. So I told him, and then I told a girlfriend at the time, and then I told my family. So there was about 2 or 3 people outside of family that knew about it. And I told my brothers first. My mom was last, because moms, right? You gotta love moms, but you don't want to give them a heart attack. So I told my 2 brothers out of safety. I told them, look, this is kind of the areas that I park. This is why I'm doing what I do. Mm-hmm. And one brother was kind of almost silent. He was like, oh, okay. So, and the other one quickly said, are you stupid? That was their reactions. But they understood the long game, because I'm all about the long game. And when they understood my purpose, that financially I got to pay off bills, I got to save up money, that's when they understood it. But I just wanted I wanted a small group of people to know that I'm doing this where I'm parked, just in case of emergency or anything that happens. So I did need a support team going into this. And after that, it just became a normal thing. I mean, they really didn't question too much. They helped out. But then came the day that I had to tell my mom. That was the last person. And you know what? Surprisingly, my mom didn't react the way I thought she was going to react. It's so weird, because how would your mom react, Gavin, if you told her you're living in your car?
She would take my car away.
She would take your car away. Yeah. Luckily, my mom didn't take my car away. But I told her, look, I tried to, how do you explain it to your mom, right? How do you explain it to your parents? Mm-hmm. I'm living out of my car. Your son, for the last 17 months at the time or so, over a year, has been living in a car. Mm-hmm. So the way I broke it down was, Mom, I have something I got to tell you. And please just understand that I'm okay. I just want to let you know that I'm okay before I tell you this. And I'm not in any trouble, or I'm not, I've adapted. I've come to terms with it. It's not a weird thing, but I am living out of my car. And then came the next thing is, I need your help. So this is how I need your help, Mom. I need to use your place to cook food. I need it to meal prep. And I'll tell you right now, Gavin, meal prep alone, I was eating out every day, living in your car, living outside. You eat out 3 to 4 times a day. And you know how expensive that can get. And I instantly cut about $600 to $700 a month just by cooking food at my mom's place and using the gym refrigerator that I was working at to store my food. She was okay with it. She trusted. The nature of my job at the time, because I was doing a lot of Lyft driving. So, you know, when you have passengers in the car, obviously you can't have a lamp and a chair or all these boxes, right? So it made the process of my journey sanitary. I wasn't some bum living in the car and you see like, you know, boxes piled up on the windows and you see like wrappers, food wrappers. So I was actually the cleanest homeless guy or houseless guy you can probably imagine or know. So what I had to do was I had to get a small storage, and I paid maybe about $75 a month, give or take. And I had to sell a lot of stuff. This storage was like it's not a lot of space. The only way that you can really do this successfully to live in a car is you got to have storage. And a lot of people that are homeless actually have storage, believe it or not. It's pretty crazy. I'd see the same people and they were probably doing the same thing as me. But I sold a lot of stuff. I downsized. I became almost a minimalist. And I only kept what I needed and it all went in the storage. I guess it can be depressing to some after just celebrating Christmas with your family and now you got to go home to a car. Let that just sink in a little bit, how that would feel. Or it's New Year's Eve and you're celebrating with your family and then now you have to go back to a depressing, dark car. It's something I wouldn't wish on anyone. But you know what? Surprisingly, I took it well, Gaven. I think for a lot of people, they would get depressed. They really would get depressed because, you know, the holiday season, there's a spike of depression. There's a lot of people that battle depression during the holiday season. But for me, I came to terms like pretty early that, look, you're going to go back to your car and that's the way it is. But I looked at the things that I did have. I had family. I could get together with them. Like a lot of people that are, you know, maybe they're homeless or they're living somewhere else. They don't have that option. So I just tried to focus on the things that I had versus the things that I didn't. And it just became normal life. But I did remember waking up in the morning on one birthday and I was like, wow, it does kind of hit you like, okay, I'm 30 something years old and I live in a car. What a loser. There is that part of you that thinks that. But you know what? I just kind of shook it off because I think I always knew the ultimate goal. I knew that, look, you're doing this now so that you can live comfortably later. And you're sacrificing now so maybe one day you can tell your story and help others to prevent getting into this situation that you're in. So it just became normal life after a while. You adjust and you move on. You just don't dwell. That's it. I've had my hard times where I'm thinking and I'm a little sad and depressed, but it didn't last long. I got over it the next morning. But I think it was embarrassing for me because it was like, okay, you're running a service and people look up to you to, you know, to avoid these traps that I preach every time. I always preach, you know, being organized and getting in your workouts. And here I am, can't even pay my bills, living in my car. But the odd thing about it was there'd be a lot of times that I would get up from sleeping in a parked in a parking lot, and my client would be right around the corner. They didn't know this. And I literally just brushed my teeth. I like shaved, literally, like if you can imagine this. And I made myself presentable, you know, make sure I don't stink. You know, there's a lot of grooming and everything that goes into it because you got to look presentable. It's professionalism, right? Mm-hmm. But literally like a minute later, I would just drive right around the corner and I would start training them. But they didn't know that I just kind of woke up and I just did my hair and I was just in the park bathroom, like washing up. they didn't know that, because when I got to
Crazy.
them, it was presentable. It was ready to work. And I just wanted to make sure that I didn't stink. I hope that I was presentable to whoever I worked with.
Mm-hmm. So we met, and I looked this up, July 14th of last year, and we did a podcast episode together that you organized. And if we look back at all of the other um, videos you've done or the other podcasts you've recorded, you've you've done them from your car. You've recorded, you've edited, you've posted all from your car, and you organized them all from where you are right now. Tell us about that experience.
I didn't see it as big of a thing as people might think. I think it was just, the one thing I was worried about is seeing the same background for my viewers.
Mhm.
And I was thinking, I hope they don't figure it out. I hope they don't. I hope they don't put two and two together and be like, you know what? Why is he always in his car? You know, and I think you were talking about it. I was talking about it with you, and you were saying, you know, it kind of crossed your mind, because I did tell you I had something to tell you.
Mhm.
And it kind of crossed your mind that you would always see the car in the background, but you just thought I was on the go, right?
Mhm.
So that's what I was hoping. I was hoping, okay, I just hope they think I'm always working and I'm always on the go, you know?
Mhm.
Hustle, 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 right? Try to,
Mhm.
hustle. He's a hustler. No, I was living in my car. And, you know, I recorded interviews. I probably recorded about 5 interviews in the car during this time. It's the hardest part is in the car, it's hot. And as you know, hosting a podcast, you don't want the audio to sound like this. If you guys can hear that. But if you listen to a lot of my podcast episodes in the past year, you're going to hear that, because here I am recording, but then I have to stay cool because I'm sweating over here. I don't want to stink, right? So that's the challenging part. But I mean, yeah, it could be easier maybe editing on a couch and being comfortable on a desk, but
Mhm.
you work with what you can and you work with the cards that you're dealt, and that's just the way it is, you know?
And one thing I wanted to touch on is your Damon 39. I mean, you went through a whole triathlon, and you know, thinking about it now, you went through this whole triathlon, and then you're like, okay, have a good rest at your house, and then you get in your car, and then that's your home. Like you basically, that's where you rest. Talk about just going through that whole triathlon and then returning to your home right now.
Well, first thing you got to bring up is, of course, cleanliness, right? You have to take a bath, you have to shower. So early on in this whole thing, luckily I worked at a gym, and I had access to a refrigerator to store my food, and I had access to showers. The hard part was when, you know, we went through the whole quarantine and everything, and the gym shut down. All the gyms shut down. And then I was like, okay, that's great, because there's only one option to shower, and it's at the parks and the beaches. It's in that cold water that you kind of don't want to shower in. But yeah, I think the training wasn't so bad, because of course, yeah, I'd be comfortable in a bed. That would be great. But um, it was just about the sweaty clothes. Like, that's probably the hard part is I would kind of have to hang it on my window, out of my window, my door, or the back, because you don't want to put sweaty stuff in your car, because that obviously can stink, and the moisture and everything. I know this sounds really gross, but I promise you guys, I'm not as dirty and as gross as you think it is. I know
You're very clean.
I am very clean, I promise you, but I'll tell you guys this much. This is my secret weapon right here. This is called Downy Wrinkle Releaser. And I use this when I was driving Lyft. So anytime passengers would come in or whatever, I'll just put this on. I'll just spray the back, and literally like a few sprays, and this thing is smelling like excellent. And even people that would come in, my Lyft passengers, they would always compliment and say, "Oh my God, Damon, like this is probably the best car I've ever smelt that I've ever been in on a lift. I would always get that compliment. But little did they know, like, I was just sleeping in it earlier last night, right? The other obstacle was my bike. I didn't have anywhere to hold my road bike. So I would have to store my bike at my mom's house, or I would store it at my brother's in town. Yeah, that was challenging. I couldn't just go home and grab my bike and then go down the stairs and go biking. I would have to have it somewhere, and then I would have to pack it up in the back of my car, and then I would have to do my training sessions that way.
So let's kind of go through your routine from sunrise to sundown. Talk to us about literally your whole routine, which is waking up, you're sleeping in your car, you know, you brush your teeth, you go to use the bathroom, you find meals or you prep meals like you were telling us, and even sundown when you're trying to find a place to sleep and even putting your towels up so that people don't see inside.
First thing, I wake up in the morning, of course I check emails, I do all that stuff, and then I brush my teeth. You got to understand, yeah, over 22 months, you, like with anything, you come up with you perfect the process of what you're doing. So it would originally be where I would go to the park, and then I would go in the bathroom, and then I would brush my teeth and everything. And then I finally said, you know what, that's kind of embarrassing. The one thing you got to keep in mind when living the way I do is you don't want your patterns to be noticeable. In this way of living, they call it being stealth. You don't want to park at the same place. You don't want to brush your teeth at the same time. Like, you don't want anyone to figure out your pattern, because then they're going to figure it out, and who knows what can happen. But I got it to the point where I was just doing everything in my car, and I would literally just like put a towel around me, and then brush my teeth. And, I don't want the toothpaste to get on me. Again, I'm a really clean, houseless guy, really clean. Water in the hair. I usually took a bath the night before, so I really didn't have to take a bath unless I was working out. But I would usually go to the gym to work out. And then when the quarantine happened, I would have to shower at the beach. But the main thing was getting up early enough, because what happens is sun starts coming into the window, and you don't want to be here when everybody's passing by, working out, walking, because they're going to see you sleeping inside. That's the one thing you don't want to do. So I would have to wake up literally like 5 something in the morning, 6, try to do it right before sunlight, and get the hell out of that parking stall and go drive somewhere else and do my thing. So the cool thing about this lifestyle is it forces you to get up early. It forces you to be productive. You have no choice but to do it. You don't have anything else. You can't just lie down and watch TV all day. You have to be productive. And I didn't feel this whole thing as much because I'm always working. I'm not your typical homeless person where, it's torture just to be on the sidewalk or just sit and wait. I was always busy. It didn't matter to me. So I was always on the go. When nighttime came around, I would have to find a stall. I would have 3 or 4 locations that I would rotate through, and I would always change it up, again, being stealth. And I put on my car visor. I put on my, this is the greatest thing ever. I bought it on Amazon. So this thing, it sticks to your window. It's like it's almost like tint. Yeah. I have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I have 2 in the back window. So if you kind of see the back window, you can kind of see that 2 are connected. You want to black it out as much as you can, and then over time I would develop putting up a towel. So the same towel, which has helped me in many things, I would just put up the towel on this side, and I'll put up like my sweater or my jacket, and that would block out the sun from coming in. But that kind of was my process, I brush my teeth at night and wake up to do it all over again. It was, after a while, it just became normal. It was nothing like, oh, that's weird. It just became normal. You adjust, and it's no different than you, Gavin, brushing your teeth in the bathroom at night. and then going to sleep. It's just that I sleep in somewhere a little bit different in my car seat. So that's the whole process. As soon as I heard the stay-at-home order, I said, okay, I'm screwed now. This is the end of the road. You are not, you're dead, Damon. That's it. You're done. You're done because you cannot go anywhere. Like, you thought you were cocky living for 19 months out there? Yeah, try now. It was the scariest moment of this whole journey. It definitely was the scariest moment because, as you remember, when they did the stay-at-home thing, you couldn't have been driving outside at a certain time. And you couldn't really just sit in your car or sit at the beach. Like, they literally cops would ask you. They would find you. I called my family and I said, look, this is what's happening. And I just want to let you know that I might need somewhere to stay if for some reason I can't survive out here. And my family has always been supportive. You know, they said, okay, you know, that's fine. The one thing that it really hit me, like, this is probably the one and only time I almost cried, was when I went to my storage, AKA my apartment, and they deemed storages as not being essential because they were keeping everything open as essential that were essential. And then I remember standing in front of my storage and just looking at it like, okay, what now? Like, what am I going to do with all this stuff that I kept in here all these months? Like, so I got to put in my car now? Okay, well, how am I going to sleep? Like, what am I going to do? My brother on that day called the storage personally. He said, is it true? Like, are we going to close? Okay, what's going to happen with this? And he found out that probably 5 minutes after I was, you know, tearing up like a little baby, the city called the storage and they said, you know what, you guys are essential. A lot of people have their medications in their storage. They're holding things that are deemed as essential. So we are going to stay open. And I can't tell you, like, the weight that was lifted off my shoulders when I heard that, because that meant that I would still have my storage and I could still survive outside. You know, it was scary. I would just go outside. It was just for exercise. You could not sit outside and just hang out. So it did make me exercise a lot. I actually exercised like every day. It became like the highlight of my days to exercise at the end of the day and then shower. And that was like, that kept me going every day. It kept my mind off of stress and all the things. And I just look forward to my workout and showering. But I survived. But it was scary. It was really scary. And I saw everybody, you know, having videos, TikTok dances in their homes. And they were, you know, you see the backgrounds of these beautiful homes and you're thinking, wow, that sucks. I wish I could quarantine and watch all these amazing shows on Netflix and eat all this amazing food. And that's the one regret I have. I wasn't able to do that. It sucked. It sucked big time.
So just within a few days ago, you got news about this new place you're living in, because this is your last night staying at home in your car, and then tomorrow night you're going to be able to sleep in a new place. And there's a great story behind it. Let's talk about that story.
So throughout my whole process, I was shooting vlogs. I was doing a series that I'm calling Nomad in Hawaii, which is just my first name backwards, Damon, and then it's Nomad. So I documented this whole journey for 30-something episodes. One of the episodes was actually with The Rock in it. Like, not physically, because I don't know The Rock, but you know what I mean. He shot a video. He was outside an apartment building, and he was telling about his story as a kid, how they were living in this apartment building, and directly across the street, there's a big condominium. And he said as a kid, he would say, like, every time he would go to school, he'd be like, man, it must be so cool live in that building. But here I am over here in this one bedroom. I'm sleeping in a bedroom and my parents are sleeping in the living room. And that's how kind of poor they were. And if you guys Google Rock and the story of eviction, him and his family got evicted. one day they came home, and he tells the famous story. Him and his mom came home, and there was an eviction notice, and they said, you guys got to get out. That's it. You weren't paying rent for 2 months or whatever because you couldn't afford it. Now you guys got to get out. And from that moment on, The Rock said, this will never happen again. Like, he literally said that. This will never, ever happen again. I'm going to make sure that my family is taken care of. And when he did that video and he shot his live, he panned up to the apartment building. And the apartment building would end up eventually being the apartment building that I'm going to move in tomorrow night, which I'm very excited about. The ironic thing about it is on the street that the apartment building was one of my main locations that I used to park my car and sleep in. And I didn't know that everything would tie up like that. So when I watched The Rock's video, like, I actually teared up. Okay, sorry, I lied. It was the second time that I teared up in this whole process. And so I made this episode that I'm really excited for you guys to see it, but that's like episode 18 or 17. It's kind of long in there. And I played the video and I said, wow, like, I actually DM'd The Rock too. He probably didn't even get it, but I DM'd him and I said, look, you don't even understand. Like, your video just gave me motivation. Like, I parked in the stall, that stall that you were shooting your live. Like, I parked there and I sleep in my car in there. And I just want to let you know that I watch that video every so often, and you motivate me to get out of there, because you were a kid in this and you moved to the condominium across the street in your career, in your life. And I just want to let you know that, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for that. And it inspired me. It really motivated me, and it gave me hope. So little did I know that the same spot I would be sleeping in, eventually I would just move into the apartment about a few feet away. So that apartment has a lot of meaning to me.
So what has this taught you about, the stereotypes of those who are homeless or living out of their cars? How has this changed your perspective on that?
Don't judge a book by its cover, honestly. The crazy thing about this whole situation was I guess you don't notice people that are like you until you become one of them. Mm-hmm. So when you become one of them, then you start noticing. And I would joke around with my friend. I would say, hey, look, this is my neighbor. this guy's my neighbor. Hey, look at my other neighbor. Because it would be the same cars parking on the same streets that I was on. And after a while, being in the position I was in, I just knew already. I knew these guys were homeless just like me, and they were doing the same thing. Same cars, same places, and they probably knew me too. We knew each other. We just never talked. We never got out our cars. It was just one of those things. But, I think this whole thing has taught me, just like, don't judge people. People are going through a tough time. Like, I don't know why I'm getting, sorry, Gavin. I don't know why I'm trying not to get emotional, but you don't know. You don't know a family member. You don't know a friend that could be going through a tough time right now. You don't know that. And all you see is what they want you to see on Facebook, on Instagram, or in person. You just don't know. And the best thing you can do is just be kind to people. Just have empathy and don't judge. When you see people that looks like they're living in their car, living on the street, don't judge. Like, you don't know. Like, if you look up a lot of stories on YouTube about homeless people, they were just like you and I. They had a job, they had a family, and they just came across a rough patch in their life, and not everybody can bounce back. A lot of people, have to live in their cars. They have to live on the street. It's nothing to look at like dirty or whatever. A lot of them have mental illnesses, and a lot of them are just genuine nice people. But when you look at someone holding up a sign for money or sitting on the street, we automatically have this stereotype where we're like, oh, that person must have like spent their money on drugs. it's kind of an awful thing what we do. We all stereotype it. It's not like that. 9 out of 10 times, this person just needs help and they just need a break. And I don't judge homeless people anymore. After doing this, I completely understand living in your car. I completely understand whatever you got to do to get back on your feet. And I even watched a documentary during this time on a family that was living out in Kaka'ako. And that was kind of hard to watch because there was this little girl that had her parents, and they lived out on the street, and they documented the whole thing. This is Kaka'ako. This is in our neighborhood. And this girl couldn't have been older than 2 years old, but she didn't know any difference. She went outside, she played, she showered at the beach. Like, this is some deep stuff, guys. So just have kindness and empathy and don't judge people. Appreciate the little things that you got. Appreciate having a bathroom to brush your teeth, having a mirror, having a sink. Appreciate having a stove to cook on, to cook your food. But also save your money. Make good investments. Don't let your credit cards, don't let your bills pile up. Live within your means or below your means. You don't need a lot of stuff that you buy. A lot of you are eating out 5 times a week. Like, you could be saving like $50 to $100 a month or more. You just don't realize it. I mean, trust me, I ate out 3 meals a day. I was spending $800 something a month, Gavin. To me, that's a lot of money. That's rent right there that I could have been putting towards somewhere else. But I want you guys to understand this too, is it's not a pity party. I got myself into this. I made mistakes over the years. I made financial mistakes, and I just couldn't upkeep myself. I couldn't afford rent. There were things that I had to do, and I got myself into this. And I think you have to take responsibility for your actions and your mistakes. You can't blame people. If you're always spending money shopping or going on trips and you're talking about being broke, you're not broke. You took that trip. You decided to buy that extra pair of shoes when you already got 10 in your closet. And I did a lot of stuff too, and I'm paying for it. And I don't wish this on anyone. I did what I had to do to survive. And regardless of how people think of me, this is what I had to do. And I was lucky enough to survive. I was lucky enough to still run my business, my podcast. And I'm here today when someone could have easily broke into my car. I could have been mobbed. There's a lot of things that could have happened. So it really is a celebration at the end of the day. I survived, and I'm still here to tell my story. Mm-hmm. And that's what it comes down to.
Damon, once again, just thank you for coming on the show and talking about your story. This has been 22 months of basically not telling anybody, this whole process, and the fact that it's come full circle. Now you are living in a place now, and you're gonna be living in a place tomorrow night. I mean, that's crazy. Before we end, can you want to put any plugs for all your social media, your Facebook, how people can reach out to you?
Instagram at Damon Moves, MOVES. Facebook, you can look up / Damon Moves, same thing. Damon Trevor, you can Google it. And then, like I said earlier in the interview, I've been documenting this whole journey. That's the cool thing. So you guys are going to be able to see what I'm calling Nomad in Hawaii, NIH. And it's going to take you from day one. Literally, I'm like waking up my first morning and being houseless and living in my car. I'm going to take you from day one all the way through this journey. And you're going to see 30-something episodes that are in the can right now, just waiting to go. I just hope you guys don't see me in a different light. And I'm nervous, but it's a story that has to be told. And hopefully it helped you guys or motivated you in some way. I'm hoping.
Once again, thank you, Damon. And before we go, because you revealed a secret to me, I'm going to reveal something to you as well. Um, so next time I see you, I have a $250 Home Depot gift card to give you. Um,
Yeah.
you
No.
can use for whatever you want to use for your house, and just to help you get started. And you're a good guy, so I believe you deserve it.
Gavin, you got me, Gavin. Yeah, I told myself I wasn't gonna get emotional. Man. Yeah, I really appreciate that. I really do. And this is probably the first video you're gonna see me tearing up, but damn it, Gavin. Gavin said he had a surprise. I did not. I was thinking another surprise, but a lot of these gestures. So the last thing I want to say is like exactly what Gavin just did right now. It really meant a lot to me. A lot of my clients. A lot of my clients. This sucks. I promise you, I wasn't expecting this. There was a lot of times that I struggled, and you guys gave me birthday money. You guys gave me Christmas money, and I can't tell you the how much it helped me over the months. There were times where my bank account was at negative. I'll be honest with you, it was at negative, and just that $20, that $50, whatever you guys gave, like it really helped me get through it. And yeah, I'm gonna stop crying like a little baby, and I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate all the gestures, and there were even clients that were continuing to pay me throughout the whole lockdown and quarantine, and it's crazy, man. It's crazy. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Gavin, I'm gonna get you back for this, Gavin.
Yeah, this might be the first time I'm actually turning up on my own podcast, which is crazy.
Yeah, I was just going into this, and I was like, oh, okay, I have no reason to be emotional. I've already dealt through this. I've gone through 22 months of this. Like I'm okay with it. I'm at peace. But I guess I don't know what just made me like get like that. But I guess as much as I try to make like I have it all together, like a lot of your friends in life or family, a lot of us don't have it all together, guys. A lot of us are just figuring it out, and we're going through hard times. And I've always said, like, I would be nothing without my clients. My students got me through a lot of hard times. Yeah, I better shut up already, Gavin. I better shut up.
But, once again, Damon, thank you so much. You're a good person, and that's why I'm open to doing this for you, man, because you deserve it. And I'm so happy that you came out of it alive. You know, you're able to move into a new place, and you're able to sleep on a bed again. I think that's so cool. So everybody here, just be grateful for what you have. You know, to keep it short, just be grateful every day. You know, I know a lot of us, there's so much things we can complain about. But you look at some other people, and they're dealing with a lot more than some of us are. You know, and we need to be appreciative of what we have. We need to be appreciative of the people around us, our friends, our family, and always keep moving forward. You know, we gotta just keep fighting and do the best we can in life. All right, guys. Before we lose it again, thank you guys for joining us. Take care.
Take care, guys. Thank you. Appreciate it.